Hello everybody and welcome to this episode of Mike's RC Review. I'm Michael and I want to take you for a tour around my first crawler. As if you've been following my videos, this is the first crawler that I own, or that I've owned. And I'd like to get you guys to join me on my journey to upgrading this crawler into my dream crawler. So even though I haven't owned a crawler before this one, guys, it doesn't mean that I haven't lusted for one. So I've been tossing and turning and thinking of buying one for the last 2.5 to 3 years, but because my background is predominantly planes, aircraft, it kind of took a back seat to my hobby needs or my enthusiasm, mainly because I wanted to get my X Cub out of the way first. And now that that's done and it's flying along with one of my other planes, which is the foam plane, the Carbon Cub SS, it paved the way for me to finally get what I wanted. And ever since these came out, the reason why I purchased the trx4 from Traxxas, the Land Rover Defender body in particular, is because when these came out, they were just the hottest thing on the market when it came to scale crawlers, because of their, well, back then it wasn't known for their bulletproof mechanics, but it is now. They come standard, for those that don't know, they come standard with the 2-speed transmission, high and low. And they also come standard out of the box, ready to run, with the front and rear differential locks. Now, those that do a lot of four-wheel driving in one-to-one scale or real life, you'd know that diff locks are something that are very important. I mean, it's good to have rear diff locks, it's good to have center diff locks, it's good to have front diff lock, but to have front and rear diff lock together, we'll almost see to it that there are hardly any terrain that you cannot handle, within reason, obviously. It's only missing one differential lock, and that's a center. Otherwise, it would be like the G-Wagon, which has front, center, and rear differential locks. In this case, it is obviously well, I wouldn't call this a toy anymore, mainly because it has the price tag that comes along with it is not a toy price tag, but whatever you classify it as, it is something that can tackle scale terrain. So scale terrain meaning 1/10. It is a 1/10 scale truck or rig, so it can tackle 1/10 scale, rocks and a bit of mud, sand driving, grass, and all that stuff. So I've owned this thing now for a bit over a month, and as it arrived stock, I gradually got it to where that is on the screen, with just the standard yellow body, with lights, the wheels, the Proline wheels and the Proline tyres, the side steps, the bull bar and the rear steel bar, the winch, with the Hobbywing Axe 550 with 60 amp ESC and the Bluetooth connectivity, and the adjustability, which is brilliant from Hobbywing. Also, the electronics have been changed to a FlySky GT5 6-channel transmitter and receiver, with stability control, ABS brakes, a lot of other host of features which you'd need to read up on the FlySky GT5 to know what it has, but a brilliant transmitter for the price, and a couple of other things. So it's basically changed from what it was from Traxxas. Now, Traxxas is a brand that I'm not 100% devoted to or married to or anything like that. I love their design of this rig. However, this compared to, say, the RC 4-wheel drive Grande 2 D110 Land Rover, if I had a choice which one to buy when I bought this, I think I would have gone the Grande, because I'm more of a scale hobbyist. Although the Grande does miss out on a lot of features this has, which is the diff locks and the 2-speed trans, and also the portals. So another thing that Traxxas has is the portal axles, which is good to have because you get so much more ground clearance. The Grande 2 RC 4-wheel drive is more a scale rig, but being that I am more scale in terms of what I wanted to build, if I had the choice, if it was in stock, I would have probably gone the Grande, even though I missed out on those few features. But because luckily enough, and I think fortunately enough, it wasn't in stock, and it wouldn't have been in stock in the nearest future, I had no choice but to get the traxxas trx4, and I had no choice to get yellow either. Yellow was my last choice of color. In fact, I waited 3 weeks to actually pull the trigger and buy this yellow one, hoping and crossing my fingers that a grey one would come into stock, which it never did. But knowing my luck, it did eventuate. 2 days after I bought this, a grey one was in stock. But no regrets now. It's here, and I have actually grown fond of this color, as it stands out with my color scheme now. So the latest upgrades that I've done to it, as you can see, is a lot. I've basically left nothing to spare. Most of the car is upgraded now. The only thing that needs to be upgraded is the undercarriage, and by undercarriage I mean metal differentials, metal axles, titanium links, which are those links on the bottom. And the first and foremost thing that I really need to upgrade next is the suspension. The stock traxxas ones aren't bad if you're just going to do simple trail stuff, but I think the heavier this rig gets, the more you should be looking into investing into new suspension setups. I'm not going to be lifting it because I do want to keep the stock look from Land Rover, but I will go, well, there's one of two things. I did ask in a previous video if you guys would comment whether you would recommend, especially the professionals out there who've been crawling for a while and who know these brands, would you recommend RC four-wheel drive King springs, which are scale looking, but I don't know the performance of because I've never owned one before, or would you prefer the Proline series shocks, whether the big bore Prolines or the dual stage spring Prolines, and also what weight oil I should be using. Now this setup now is fairly weighty. It's fairly hefty in weight. So what I've added so far is the mesh grills, the mesh grill inside the mesh grill for the hood or bonnet. I painted these with a Tamia black, gloss black finish, and then I put clear coat on top. So that's real paint, it's not a wrap. And also the roof, as you can see, it's all black now, and the rear. So basically I have mimicked what the orange Adventure Edition Land Rover Defender from Traxxas. I've mimicked that color scheme, but instead of orange, it's yellow. So I've actually copied it to the T. So what the orange one has in terms of black, that's what I put on my yellow one, which I think looks better. I must admit, I'm very proud of this. It's the first crawler I've owned, but the way I see it is the way I envisioned it. I'm actually very much in love with how it turned out. My future upgrades, guys, will be an interior with a full working dash and lit dash as well. And the interior I'll detail that to where I want it to be, so I'll make it look like Recaro seats are in it. I guess in real life, if I owned this car, I would have Recaro seats on all four sides. It'll be a 6-seater, so it'll be 2, 4, and 6. And that's basically how I would deck this out if I owned it in real life. And it would be exactly the way this looks. So far, what I've upgraded on it visually, cosmetically, is the spare tyres I got from Oz 4x4 or Aussie 4x4, 4x4, which are the stamped steel 1, 2, 3, 6-spoke wheels. We call them Sunraysias here in Australia. They're steel, pretty heavy. They add a bit of weight, which is good, but not for the top. That's why it's more for trail use, this vehicle, not for climbing or crawling, because it's very top heavy. So I've got the spare tyre there. I've also got the spare tyre on the top for a scale look. This is still plastic, guys, although it will be metal in the future. I've already tracked down a metal roll cage from my local hobby shop. Just waiting to pull the trigger on that and buy it, but it'll add more weight to the top. The other thing I have to invest in are dual stage foams for the Proline BF Goodrich tyres, because as you can see, as it is now, just sitting here, it's already starting to sag on the bottom because of the weight. So a lot of the mass, a lot of the weight of the car is on the tires. It's good to have unsprung weight because it's very top heavy, but a lot of the weight on this car is actually on the body, which is above the springs. So those that know what unsprung weight is, you'd know that what I've done is it hasn't done me favors when it comes to rock crawling. In fact, it's to my detriment. So, but this is the way I want it to look like, and as I said, it's not going to be bush bashed, or it's not going to be made to crawl over rocks to scratch. This is mainly for trail use and a lot of indoor use. So again, detailing my upgrades: wheels as spare tires. Then I went to Proline to get the Proline 1.9 alloy and composite shooter wheels, along with the KM3, I think. Yep, KM3 BF Goodrich mud terrain Proline tires, 1.9 inch. I bought the Road Tech Land Rover Defender mud flaps, or mud spats as we call them here. GPM rear steel bar, alloy bar. This will be changed because it doesn't have a tow hitch. I didn't see it in the pictures when I bought this, but I wanted something with a tow hitch, so this will be changed as soon as one comes into stock. The lights, I've gone the standard traxxas front and rear headlights. I didn't purchase the rock crawling lights. Watch the previous video to know why, but I didn't get them. I had to purchase these separately because they're not available in Australia at the moment, the whole kit. So I had to buy the headlights and taillights separately to the actual relay switch, which came with this roof light, with the driving light. So driving light gave me the driving light and the relay switch, and then front and rear headlights. I saved around 30 Australian dollars by doing that without getting the rock lights, which I probably just would have used for surround lights instead of using them as rock lights if I had have gotten the full kit. But I guess it wasn't available, so it's no point talking about that. So so that tires. I also did the rear half or rear quarter mesh grills, which comprises these quarters, the rear and the other side, and then separately to that I purchased the Defender Lion or anti-lion mesh grills for the windows, which are functioning. So they function by just putting them up like that. If you wanted to run it with the windows up, I mean with the grills on, it makes it one scale look, and that's how that looks if you wanted to look at it from afar. I like the look of them down. A lot of the people on YouTube who I see that have these have them down. Now, just a word of warning and a word of advice, guys. If you don't have the proper tools, which I didn't, and they are very, very minuscule screws, these are excuse the language, these are a bitch to fit, an absolute bitch. These took me around about, I'd say, 6 hours to fit, because first of all, there are no instructions. Second of all, nobody on the internet actually does them on video, so there's no way of knowing how to actually fit them. These have an orientation where they have to be mounted outside, otherwise they won't fold properly. The other thing is each individual screw needs to be screwed in, and a retaining bolt actually needs to be put in as well. So you need pliers, you need the screw individually. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 8 screws per window, and having only 2 hands, I had to basically with one hand use a screwdriver, the other hand use pliers to hold this retaining bolt, and then with a couple of fingers hold the mesh while I'm actually trying to screw that into place. So if you can imagine that took ages. I thought these ones were hard to put on because you have to drill individual holes for these, but these pale in comparison to these. These ones took me roughly 2 hours. These took me 6 hours. No shit, no word of a lie. That's how long they took me to fit. They are an absolute pain. If I had known that they were going to be that hard, I probably would have thought twice in getting them, but it's too late now. They're here. I ordered the rear diamond plated, checker plate rear quarter protectors for the fender there. So these look, they're to a scale look. I should have actually ordered the anti-scratch ones that go on the side as well, but I guess, hey, I didn't think about that when I bought these. But they're there now. They look good. I like them. Side steps are another thing. These are from GPM. So I've got GPM rear bar, GPM side steps. These are from Road Tech. These are from Yar Racing. So the rear ones are from Yar Racing. These are from Road Tech. So these Defender window mesh grills are from Road Tech. And then these ones here, so the we call it bonnet in Australia, but I guess for our American friends, the hood. So the hood checker plate protection thingies. I don't know what they're called, so excuse me for that, guys. But these are from Yar Racing. So a lot of this truck is Yar Racing, GPM, and Hobbywing. So the only thing that's traxxas on this that still remains, of course, the chassis. The undercarriage is still traxxas. But apart from that, everything else is different brand now. So the electronics are gone, the motor's gone, ESC's gone, wheels are gone. I've taken off basically around about 60% of the vehicle, or 40% of the vehicle, sorry, all gone now. It's all different brands. The other thing I got, guys, was the Yar Racing bull bar, as we call it here in Australia. It's called a bull bar, but I guess you can call it a metal or steel bumper with the winch, which is the Yar Racing winch as well. Again, if you watch my previous video, you'd know that I was at pains to actually receive this in the mail because I thought this would have been compatible with the bumper. Long story short, it's not. You have to drill holes to actually get this to match with this, and you still end up with an off-center winch. So I guess only if you were really paying attention to it, you would notice. But for those that look, I would never probably even use the winch. So right now it's connected, but through a manual switch. I probably won't even invest in a remote control for it because I think it's a waste of money. But and that's only because I don't join competitions. I don't join clubs. But for those that do and they need a winch, I would suggest probably a worn winch from RC 4-wheel drive, as they are better in terms of scale look and in terms of probably even fitting to a Yar Racing bull bar. But I went the Yar Racing bull bar as opposed to, say, a GPM one to match rear bumper, mainly because it's got the lights. So it came with fog lights as well, which I've connected. They do work. I recycled the Defender stickers because I had to rip this off when I painted the hood, but I managed to actually recycle them and stick them back on. So that's the that done. This is just an antenna. It's not even scale looking because it's got this spring type action here, which they look like a mobile phone antenna for a car from the 1990s, which I'm planning on probably cutting it down here and there and then rejoining it back, just so it looks better than what it does now. But it's there. It does come with a flag. If you want to run these out in the desert somewhere and they get buried, that's the whole point of having a flag on the top. And underneath, guys, I've got Yar Racing underbody protection. So Yar Racing underbody protection for the front, the pumpkins, which are the diffs, the center transmission, the rear diff, and by mistake I actually ordered one for the back, not knowing that again, I was told by the hobby shop that it will fit. It does, but it's, it doesn't really do anything. But that one there also fits in the front. It's really no use for it, but it's there. It adds to unsprung weight because it is actually below the springs, which is good. So that basically covers the whole. Oh, by the way, and I've painted the gas cans black and the jack black as well. I've put on a few stickers. So the rigid stickers are from the lights because they are actually modeled after rigid lights from Rigid. And Proline as the tires and the wheels are Proline. ARB, I bought the ARB from ARB. Oh, sorry, the ARB stickers I got from ARB here in near where I live. And then the next upgrade will be internal. Now, those that follow my video, you would, or my videos, sorry, you would know that I've upgraded this mechanically as well, as I said before. So it's got the Hobbywing Axe 550, 3300 kV, Z-Run motor from Hobbywing, which is I can attest to the fact that it is probably the best motor to put on here. There it is in all its glory. It's a brushless system. It's very good when it comes to modulation. I cannot complain about it, but then again, I've never owned another crawler, and I didn't use the stock motor and speed controller out of this car. I just went straight to the Hobbywing Axe. I just didn't see a point, and I was going to end up selling those ones anyway, but I haven't yet sold them. I was told by another hobby shop that I have approximately $300 to $400 just sitting in the box, or the original box of this car, from the parts that I took out. But I guess, hey, that could be a future crawler build. If I get the RC four-wheel drive Galande 2 without mechanicals, I've already got a motor, which is a 21-turn traxxas motor. I've already got an ESC. I've already got a transmitter from this, the original transmitter, the TQ5. The receiver I've already got. When I change the shocks to either Proline big bores or Proline dual stage, I'll have shocks as well. And then I'll have whatever I take off this, which will be, pretty much everything. So there's a lot of things that I'll be doing to this. Like, I've already got a steering servo as well, the stock steering servo for this, which I took out. I've used the Power HD 25 kilo steering servo, which I can now use on 7.4, because I'm going to tell you soon why. Because these pieces of junk, the traxxas 2-speed transmission servo and the traxxas differential lock servos are now going to be yanked out. So we'll no longer need to use 6 volts because of these. And of course, I don't want to use another BEC because this is already fitted with a BEC. I won't need to anymore, because these will be replaced by these beauties from Power HD once again. So all my servos are going to be Power HD. FYI guys, just before I conclude this video, these are one of probably 3 brands that can do it. There's Eco Pro, there's this, and there's also I think a Yar Racing one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you need to do the measurements. These are called TR4 specifically because these are made to replace the TRX4 servos for your diff and transmission. So I've been told by other hobby shops that it can't be done. There's not any, because these aren't micro servos, these are sub micro. And I've been told by other hobby shops that they cannot be done, so be careful with these, because you cannot replace them. Well, I've done a little bit of research, and I just found out that you could. So now this will in effect give me the ability to use high voltage 7.4. So switch the BEC onto 7.4, because this is a 7.4, and at 7.4 I will get 25 kilos out of this at, I think, 0.11 response rate, 0.11 seconds. So these ones here at 7.4 are at 0.10 seconds, and you'll be getting 2.6 kilograms of torque, or 36.1 ounces per inch. So they are a very good servo. These servos would never even get close to needing 2.6 kilograms of torque on this, because all they're doing is changing the 2-speed transmission from high to low, and also the differential diff locks from open to closed. So that's all they will be doing in their life, in their lifespan. So they should last you a long time. But because they're high voltage, it will then in effect give me the ability to use, as I said, 7.4 volts on my system. So next up, guys, watch this space. As I said, there's still a few things to go. These will be changed to metal. The shock tower shock braces will be changed to metal as well. I have plans to do that in metal, these in metal. The links, I have plans to do them in titanium, which they are available. And then the whole axle setup here, including the portals, they will be changed to metal as well. So the front and rear, the metal post, metal shock braces, and then metal here as well. I'm going to be changing this part here to metal. Battery tray, there's one available in carbon fiber. And also the receiver box is available in carbon fiber. So there's a lot of things still need to be done. It's probably in Australian dollars around about $1,200 to go in terms of monetary budget. So it's not cheap, guys. This here, it's already skyrocketed in price. So for those that know what these items that I've put in are, the motor and ESC combo alone is $400. So then it's not a cheap hobby, just getting into it in the middle of COVID-19. Obviously, there's a lot of people there with nothing to do and a lot of credit card money to spend. I haven't spent these things on credit cards, guys. I don't believe in credit cards. So at the end of the day, go easy on it. Stick to your budget, stick to your plans. If it's something that you cannot do at the moment financially, don't push yourself. I did this specifically because I've always wanted this truck, and I don't usually keep my items stock. I like upgrading them. I'm opposite when it comes to real cars. So real cars, I own a Focus RS and 2017 Focus RS. And that's something that, you know, the money I've spent on this, I could have easily have upgraded my RS to have, you know, 500 horsepower and this and that. But I'm more into stock real cars, but upgrading, you know, everything else that's got to do with the RC or remote control. So enough waffling, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today on this video. I look forward to seeing you on a future video. And as always, please stay safe throughout COVID-19. It has now come back into Melbourne, Victoria, where I live. We're now back to stage 3 restrictions. So there's parts of actually all of Melbourne is now locked down for 6 weeks. I'm lucky enough that I'm not in Melbourne. I'm around about 150 kilometers away. So I'm just outside the lockdown area. We're still free to move around our area. But I want to shout out to the guys who are experiencing lockdown at the moment. Much love to you guys. Please be careful, be safe, enjoy the time with your families, and do the right thing. Exercise social distancing. I also want to say a big shout out to our friends from the United States of America. Guys, keep hanging on, stay safe, and you have friends here in Australia. We're all with you, along with everybody else around the world. So my heart goes out to those who have lost loved ones from COVID-19. You have my sincere condolences for everybody who has lost a loved one to this disease, to this virus. So, guys, until the next video, thank you so much for staying with me. Please subscribe if you like these sort of videos. If you don't, that's fine. Correct me if I'm wrong with any of the statements that I've made. And feel free to send me messages. I do answer every message that is sent. But if there's any questions as well, please hit me up. You know how to go. You guys know how to do it. Hit me up and I'll respond to whatever questions you have regarding anything in regards to this RC hobby. So until the next video, guys, once again, thank you so much for joining me and stay safe. Cheers and peace out.